If music be the food of love, play on. Give me excess of it, that surfeiting the appetite may sicken and so die. That strain again, it had a dying fall. Oh, it came o'er my ear like the sweet sound that breathes upon a bank of violets, stealing and giving odour. Enough, no more. 'Tis not so sweet now as it was before. Oh, spirit of love, how quick and fresh art thou, that notwithstanding thy capacity receiveth as the sea, naught enters there of what validity and pitch soe'er, but falls into abatement and low price even in a minute. So full of shapes is fancy that it alone is high fantastical.
One evening, we had been inside a restaurant where there was music, my sort of music, a saxophone throbbing beneath the melody, a moan and a sigh, and something that went on beating, getting quicker and quicker. Then they played a tune, low and humming, a little wailing note coming from nowhere, and the time was perfect. There were people dancing. I said, "Dance?" to Esther, and she nodded, and we got up on the floor too. I knew I was no good at this. It would not be any fun for her, but for me it meant holding her and being very close, her hair touching my cheek. She seemed small, smaller than I had realized, and she moved as though she had no will of her own and was part of me. I did not know what was happening at all. I just went on holding her, and she held me too, and it was unlike anything that had ever been before. When the music finished, we went. She had a coat over her arm and a beret in her hand, and we passed through the doors and into the street, the lights flickering, people's faces passing us meaning nothing, and I shouted for a taxi. A yellow Citroën came grinding up, stuffy and closed, but it did not matter, and we got in, not speaking, not knowing what was going on anywhere, or where he should take us. I took hold of her, burying my face in her hair, and I felt her heart beating and her body trembling. I had never dreamt it possible that I could go on kissing anyone for so long. Still I did not speak, but clung to her, not letting her go, and she lay quite still, and then turned away with her head against my shoulder. "Esther," I said. "Esther, darling, you don't mind, do you?" "No, I don't mind. It's so marvellous being with you. I couldn't go on any longer, Esther, not doing anything." "No. Put your arms round me." "Why?" "I want you to. Put your arms round me." "Where's the taxi taking us, Dick?" "I don't know. It doesn't matter. I love you so terribly." "Dick, they'll make a fuss at the pension if I'm late again." "No, they won't. It doesn't matter. You can't go back yet. You can't. I'm not going to let you go. Esther, you must keep your arms round me, you must. I've got to kiss you again. I can't help it. Oh, darling. Oh, darling." There had never been anything like this. "You're not angry. Say you're not angry," I said. She took my face in her hands, and I saw her eyes were troubled, sad. "I don't want you to kiss me anymore," she said. "I want you to take me home." And her voice was a little shadow of a voice, coming from far away, bewildered and lost. "You don't hate me, do you?" I said. "Esther, if you only knew what this means to me, loving you. Darling, don't go away. Please don't go away." "You know I don't hate you," she said, and her voice was still muffled and strange, as though it were frightened of itself. "That's why I want you to take me home. Tell him where to go, Dick." There was a long, expectant silence between the chess players. The clock on the mantelpiece ticked away. Johanna realized that this was the first time that she and Alex had been alone together. There had always been somebody around at the hospital, and Alex never visited them unless George was at home. She was aware of an entirely different atmosphere in the room. It had become emotionally charged and strangely intimate. It didn't seem wrong to her that this should be so. As Alex reached across the board to move a knight, he clumsily knocked over one of Johanna's castles. His hand rested close to hers. Without thinking, she gently covered his hand with her own. For a moment, neither of them spoke. They were at a loss to explain what had happened between them. Rising, Alex leaned across and gently kissed Johanna on the cheek. In doing so, he aroused her as George was no longer able to do. He satisfied an unfulfilled longing. They kissed again, this time much more passionately. Several chess pieces fell on the floor. An everlasting moment followed, interrupted finally by the voices of George and Harold in the drive. A week later, Alex appeared unexpectedly at the Radcliffe Infirmary. There was another outburst of feeling between Johanna and himself. "Can we go somewhere where we can talk?" he pleaded. Overwhelmed by his presence, Johanna begged to be let off duty for a couple of hours, and they drove to Blenheim Park a few miles away. It was a perfect April day, with the first flowers showing. After walking hand in hand, they sat in the shade under the trees. Being a weekday, the park was empty of visitors. Whatever Johanna and Alex may have intended when they left the Radcliffe, they gave way to their emotions once they were alone. They became insensible to everything except their passion for each other. It possessed them. With shafts of sunlight breaking through the trees, the two young lovers knew nothing but rapturous delight. Why is it, Johanna asked herself, that everything else fades in his presence? Why the magic? Why the longing? Why does his love flood my heart?